Hi, I'm Shane and welcome to your first learning tutorial for first-time users of Microsoft Excel. This first series of videos is designed for the absolute beginner in Excel. We only assume that you know how to turn your computer on and also how to open a blank spreadsheet in Microsoft Excel. In this first lesson, we'll briefly discuss the layout of the screen and we'll create our first very simple formula. Excel is undoubtedly the world's best spreadsheet program with millions of users worldwide, but it can be very intimidating to the first-time user. But I promise to slowly introduce you to new features while also giving you assignments to practice what you've learned. So without further ado, let's get started. The first thing I want to talk about is the layout of the screen. It's really divided into two sections. The upper portion is what we call the ribbon, and this is where all your tools reside. This is the home ribbon. There's an insert ribbon, page layout, formulas, and again we'll cover much of these later in later tutorials, but for now we're simply going to focus on the home ribbon. Down below is the main area of the spreadsheet. Notice that along the top you have what we call columns, A, B, C, D. Columns they're called columns because they think about them as supporting a structure. They run from top to bottom all the way down. If you go out to the far right, as you can see, we have lots and lots of columns. XFD is the last column. So lots of columns. We also have rows. Each row is on the left-hand side. And if we go to the very bottom of the spreadsheet, we have over 1 million rows. So lots of space in Microsoft Excel 2007. Again, as I make this tutorial, there is a newer version of Excel out called Excel 2010, but for the most part everything that I'm going to talk about in this first series should work with whatever version of Excel you're using. In the upper left hand corner, this is the main button. This is where you can create a new spreadsheet, you can open an existing spreadsheet, you can save it, you can print it out. You're welcome to explore all these different tools on your own. So let's go back to the spreadsheet and notice now that I'm using my arrow keys, by the way, and I'm just moving around the screen. Notice along the top, especially in the upper left hand corner, it tells me that it says B1. Why does it say B1? Well, it's because I'm currently in column B, row 1. So cell B1, that is the address of that cell. If I move over and come down a little bit, I'm now in cell E7. In the upper left hand corner, it always gives you the address of the current cell. Okay, let's pretend that we have 3 salespeople. We're going to enter some data now. We have 3 salespeople. Their names are Jill, Frank, and Sarah. And let's pretend that they each made sales last month. We'll just make up some numbers here. We'll say Jill had 548 in sales, Frank had 375 in sales, and Sarah had 296 in sales. Now notice when I press the enter key, Excel automatically moves the cell pointer to the next cell below. That's just an automatic feature built into Excel. And in later tutorials, I'll show you how you can control what happens when you press the enter key. You may want to go to the right instead of going down, and you can control that. Okay, so we got our salespeople, we have our sales amounts. Let's put some column headings up here. Let's just call this sales person, and we'll just call this sales. That's pretty self-explanatory. Now notice that salesperson is cut off. You really can't read it. Why is that? Well, it's because the column isn't wide enough. How can we change that? Very easily. Just move your mouse between columns A and B and notice that your cursor changes to a special image. At that point, we can simply click and drag, hold our mouse button in and drag to the right and release. And notice now that our column's wide enough to display the word. Okay, so let's add these numbers up. How do we add these numbers up? Well, a good place to put a total is at the very bottom. So let's go ahead and create a label called total. And let's go back to cell B5. And always remember that any formula in Excel always starts with the equals key. So let's put equals, and now I'm going to use my mouse and click on Jill. And notice what happens. It puts B2 in my formula. Now I'm going to press the plus sign from the keyboard. Plus. Now I'm going to click Frank's number, and notice what happens. B3 now pops in there. Again, I'm going to put a plus sign, and now I'm going to click on Sarah's. And so now it's saying B5 equals B2 plus B3 plus B4. Guess what happens when I press enter? Voila. It automatically adds up the 3 salespeople. So that is the power of Excel, to quickly allow you to make calculations on numbers. Now let's pretend that my numbers on Sarah were wrong. Her numbers were low, but we found out that there was some missing paperwork and we need to change it to 558. And notice, watch my total. As soon as I press the enter key, it automatically adjusts for Sarah's new total. So that is the power of Excel. You can make changes anywhere inside your data, and all the totals and calculations get updated immediately. So thank you for watching this first tutorial. Your homework is to do this. I want you to create a list of 10 student names, make up their test scores. It doesn't matter what they are, but at the bottom of the scores, I want you to total up their scores, and I also want you to try to determine the average score using a formula. Now, I know we haven't had the average formula covered yet in the tutorials, but I would like to challenge you. And in my next tutorial, obviously, we'll cover the answer to the homework. Again, thank you for your time. My name is Shane, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and we'll see you next time.